Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Woollentwine Fibrestudio knitting podcast. My name is Jule and I'm the dyer and maker behind Woollentwine Fibrestudio, which is a small creative space located here in northern Germany where I play with natural dyes and natural yarns. It's been a while. Happy 2023. I haven't recorded a video in what seems like forever, so excuse if I'm a bit rusty. But today I want to introduce to you our new yarn collection, the January collection that will launch on the 27th of January at 8 p.m. CET. I've changed how to tell the time zones because some of you said that the GMT is more complicated than the CET for them, so yeah, I will say this in CET from now on. But basically the same time as always on a Friday. So we've been preparing a lot of yarn for this collection, and I'll try to keep this video rather short, even though I'm doing the regular show and tell of all the colorways and bases. But we've made so much that I'm afraid this video is going to be very long. So let me just give you a quick overview of what's going to be in the update and then jump into showing you the colorways. So just some general info on this shop update. We decided, because we didn't have a shop update in December, mostly because of shipping reasons, just so people could have their stuff before the holidays. We did the update in November. And so we didn't have one in December, and I know some of you were looking into a couple of our classic bases. And so we are restocking all our classic bases and more. Another reason why we are having such a big update with all of our classics is that we will, like so many others, have to raise our prices in February. So I wanted to have another shop update with a collection that's available at the normal price point, and that collection was supposed to be very big and with a lot of classics, so in case you were looking for something, you will still have the chance to get these at the old prices. Same goes for a little special that we prepared because, because we wanted to make it a bit more accessible before raising our prices, and therefore we prepared a little sale section where we will have a couple of skeins. They are all perfectly fine, like there's nothing wrong with them, but we'll have some skeins that are available in some random quantities, like smaller quantities than we normally have, or that are colorways that we cannot really repeat. So we're gonna have these at reduced prices, so you'll have the chance to grab a little bargain before we will have to raise our prices in February. I haven't made final calculations yet, and I hope it's not necessary to put them up significantly higher, but I want to be transparent about this and tell you the reason behind this decision. Because I've been trying to keep the prices constant for a very long time. I think I have not raised them in over 3 years or so. But in these 3 years, a lot of things happened. I mean, you all know that the world has changed and that we are living in a completely different world right now, where energy prices and pretty much all kinds of supplies have risen in prices quite heavily. And it does affect my work quite a bit, especially because natural dyeing is a very time and energy consuming craft, and even though I'm designing my process as low in energy consumption as I can. I still do have a lot of, like, the electricity bill is something I have to watch, and with the rising prices also of natural materials, I could not keep up with the old prices anymore. I'm going to go in depth about this when the price change actually happens, because yeah, I want to be transparent about all these things. But just so you know already that this shop update is the last one where you will be able to shop at the old prices. Yeah, there will also be a sales section, and we've also prepared some other special goodies. So without further ado, let me introduce the bases that we'll have available. So first of all, let me start out with our current sock base, Corriedale Sock, that is 100% Corriedale fiber at 400 meters per 100 grams with a slightly higher twist for durability. And this is a fully woolly sock yarn without any nylon or artificials added to it. And we didn't have Corriedale Sock in stock for quite a while, so I decided to make a little special this time and prepare a couple of sock sets, which I'm going to start out with showing you the colorways now. They are kind of one-of-a-kind sets, so I'm not gonna give them like any kind of names. They just will have some numbers. And this one is number 1, and it's a light apricot peach with an off-white mini skein, so very soft and light. Then we'll have number 2, which is a bit darker. Sorry for the longer ties, we have to label those still, so I couldn't cut them off yet. But yeah, this is sock set number 2, and it's a nice saturated purple with a rosy mini. So sock set number 2. Then we'll have another very light and pastel-y one, that is sock set number 3. And this is an off-white mini with like a purpley grey, mauvey kind of tone mini. I think this might be my favorite. You know how much I love neutrals, so I love these ones. It looks a little white on camera, but it's not really a white, like not a creamy sheep's wool white. It's more muted, and it has almost like a greyish purpley undertone, but it's hard to tell on camera maybe. Anyhow, it really suits the smaller mini that goes with it. Then we'll have sock set number 4, which is another slightly more colorful one. So this is like a corally pink with another off-white mini. And then last but not least, we'll have a very elegant one, I think, sock set number 5, which is, it looks almost a bit blown out in the camera, but the color of this one is like a light pink, and then with a very red mini skein. So this is sock set number 5. And yeah, I really enjoyed making these, and I felt like with January always being a little bit dark and moody for many, I felt like having a little bit of a fresh sock set palette would be nice to brighten everyone's mood and to just give us all a good feeling. And the same theme kind of goes for the other colors that we'll have on Corriedale Sock, which are also, most of them are rather clean and bright in color. Like not bright, but light and pastel-y. So this one is Cloud. We've had these ones in stock before, And it's just the perfect neutral off-white shade that you can really pair with pretty much everything because it goes with everything. And I know it has been some people's favorites for combinations, and so I decided to bring this one back. Just as a little staple to combine with other colors. Because even though Corriedale Sock is a sock yarn, it does not necessarily have to be knitted into socks. You can also use it for any kind of other garment, and especially for next to skin projects, I feel, because it's very soft. Then the next one we'll have is another light pink that also goes very well with the sock sets. So this one is Petal. It's a dusty, coolish kind of pink. And sticking with the pinks, we have another one-of-a-kind colorway that I won't necessarily be able to reproduce, and it's this one. So this one is called One-of-a-Kind 1. And I can show it next to Petal just so you can see the difference. So this one is One-of-a-Kind 1. It's more of a peachy pink, while Petal is a bit more cool in undertone. And then we have another one-of-a-kind colorway that resulted from several overdying sessions because I wasn't really satisfied with the color I was getting. And so this one is also quite difficult to recreate. So this is one-of-a-kind number 2. And it's a nice deep jewel-like purple. But I really think it's really pretty. It has a lot of depth that resulted from the several overdyes, which is very pretty, I feel. Then we have one more bright color, or light color. I'm always confusing these two words, I'm sorry. But this is Mimosa, and it's a very light buttery yellow that I feel is also still quite neutral in undertone, so I think it could be very easily combined with other colors. And last but not least, we have one dark colorway because I could not just stick with the light ones. If you know me, you know I love dark colors sometimes. And this one is Brown Bear, and it's a nice, soft and warm saturated brown with a little variegation in it. I love this shade so much. I think I might need to dye this in sweater quantities so I can make myself a sweater out of it. Alright, I think this is it with for the Corriedale Sock base. So without further ado, let me continue with the next base we'll have available. So the next base we are restocking is our BFL Masham 4-ply, which is a blend of 75% Blueface Vesta and 25% mid-brown Masham sheep, spun with a slightly looser twist to a 400 meter per 100 grams fingering weight yarn. This is one of our classic bases, especially for garments and accessories. We have this one, for those of you who are new here, we also have this one in the DK version, and it's very, it's our workhorse yarn because it's very versatile and you can use it in so many different ways. We have prepared quite a few colors, and some of you might be familiar with how we normally do it, that we dye all the colors on the same, like the two bases, just so you can choose. But for this update, because we also are introducing a new base that we had to fit into our dye schedule, it wasn't possible to dye all the colors on all the bases. And so I'll have to show them to you individually this time. So there might be a couple of colorways that are only available in the 4-ply version or the DK version or whatever. So I'll start out with our BFL Masham 4-ply in the undyed shade, because this was pretty requested after the last update where we had a few skeins of BFL Masham DK in the undyed. And here you can see the lovely greyish, warm greyish undertone of this base. So we'll have a few of these available in its undyed state, just because it's also very easy to combine for any kind of color work or multicolored projects. Then let me start out with the slightly lighter colorways and move my way to the darker ones. This one again is a one-of-a-kind colorway that we might not be able to reproduce, so it's called one-of-a-kind again. By the way, I do, in the shop they will be called the abbreviated version, so OOAK for one-of-a-kind. So this is the one-of-a-kind colorway on the BFMSM 4-ply. And don't worry, the other ones will be named, just so you're not confused with too many one-of-a-kind colorways. Next up, we'll have almost a classic by now, that's Almond. And this one is a very nice neutral beige that also goes with a lot of other shades. But it's significantly warmer and more beige than, for example, the undyed, if I may show them side by side. And then we'll have another lighter shade that was very popular on the BFMSM DK over the last couple of updates, and this one is Ginger. And it's a warm, soft orangey brown that I think goes very well with Almond as well. I know this might be a bit autumnal, we're in the middle of winter, but I still love this color combo. Next up in the lighter colorway range, we'll have Blush, which is a soft, cool toned pink, but just a very soft pink. I don't know if you can see, but it's not very punchy. So this one is Blush, and staying with the slightly pinkish purpley shades, we'll also have Fuchsia, which is a bright and saturated kind of magenta shade. Then we'll also have our classic Lavender that I think is also very wearable. I have a hat in this colorway. I should have brought it, but I haven't. I have a hat in this colorway, and even though I've had this one for years, I'm still wearing it, and it doesn't get boring because it's just very wearable, I feel. I shouldn't put this in front of my face, sorry. But yeah, this is Lavender. And then we'll have a colorway that's, it's a bit tricky because this one is very unpredictable how it turns out when I dye it. Sometimes it has more of a purpley undertone, sometimes it's more of a greenish gray. But this one is Pigeon, and it's like a green purple gray. I don't know if I can describe it correctly like this, but it's very cool, I think. And just so you can see, because if I show them after each other, it might seem similar to Lavender, so let me show them next to each other. So you can see that Lavender is quite a bit more purple and saturated, whereas a Pigeon is more grayish. And this color shift that sometimes comes up between the purple and the green just really reminded me of pigeons. So yeah, I don't know, these kind of grey pigeons that we do have here, I know there are different kinds of pigeons, but yeah, it really reminded me of that, so that's why it's called this way. And then we have one more classic before I move on to the new colorways. And this one you will be very happy about, I think, because it's always so requested, and I'm always hesitant to bring this out of Christmas season because it just is my Christmas colorway kind of. But so many people requested it that I dyed it on all of our bases, like all of our BFI Masham bases. So here is Crimson, and it's a true Christmas red that always shows up a touch brighter on camera than it is in real life. I feel in real life it's a tiny bit more muted. But yeah, this one is Crimson. And then we'll have two new colorways. One of them being in one of my, like, can I say comfort zone colorway regions. This one is Mahogany, and it's something between a red and a brown, and I think it's very beautiful. You know, I do love all these kind of berry tones and darker reds with brown undertones, such as our classic colorways like Mulberry and Oxalis and these kind of things. So Mahogany is in a similar kind of shade range. I would say it's close to Oxalis but more warm, not as berry toned, more brownish and warm. So yeah, this is Mahogany. And last but not least, this was requested quite a few times. Whenever I post a little sticker on Instagram asking you what kind of color families you'd like, someone puts up green. So it's not my favorite, like, I don't think of making greens very often because I don't wear greens. It's just not something I just consider. It's not that I don't like it, it's just I don't consider it. And so, yeah, I had to do a green for this shop update, and this one is Forest. And it's just a pretty cool toned medium green that I really like. So I think, yes, that is it for the BFI Masham 4-ply base. These are all the colorways. By the way, I will add timestamps just so it's easier for you to jump between the sections and you know what colors are available on what bases. But this was the BFI Masham 4-ply, and I will jump right into the next section now. So next up, I'll show you the colorways on our BFI Masham DK base, which is the slightly heavier sibling of BFI Masham 4-ply. It's the same fiber blend of 75% BFL and 25% Masham, but it's at 240 meters per 100 grams. And this is just the perfect yarn for sweaters, I feel. For accessories alike, but it's just such a sweater yarn for me. So we've got a lot of colors in this base, and I've also tried to double the amount per colorway that we normally do, just to make it a bit easier to grab a sweater quantity. And I hope this will make it a bit easier to shop. Let's start out with the undyed again. This was very loved last time, as mentioned, and it will be available again. So this is the undyed BFI Masham DK. Then we'll also have the kind of neutral shade that I also showed on the BFI Masham 4-ply. This is Almond. On BFI Masham DK. Then we'll also have another kind of neutral, although this time it turned out a bit less neutral, let's put it that way. This one is Sand, and normally it's even more neutral. This time it has a slight pink undertone. That's just how it goes with natural dyes, because yeah, they are a natural product, and even though I meticulously pay attention to repeating my process the same every time and weighing my dye stuffs out and everything, just the tiniest bit of a change can change how a dye bath turns out. And so if you've seen some other batches of sand, this one is a bit more warm and almost pinkish in undertone. So yeah, this is sand. And then we'll also have blush, which is actually a pink. And I will show you the shades next to each other just so you can have an idea of how they look together. And that you can see the difference. Let me put undyed. So this is the undyed. Then in the middle we have sand, and on the right we have blush, which is, I don't know if you can see, but it's a bit more saturated, even though sand does have a bit of a pink undertone as well. So I actually really like this combo. For someone who loves low contrast and neutral shades, this is something very nice. But then we'll also have a couple of warmer colorways, just like our, yeah, kind of, it's almost a classic by now as well, ginger. Come on, camera, can you focus? So ginger, and then we'll have our classic caramel, which is a golden saturated brown, and we didn't have this for a while, so I felt like bringing it back for our big restock update would be very fitting. And I will show them next to each other just so you can see the difference. So caramel is significantly more golden and ginger is just more of a orangey brown. Then we'll also have something a bit more moody again. And here you can see that the colorway did turn out quite a bit different on this base as well. And this is Pigeon again. And it turned out quite a bit more saturated and almost purple on Masham DK than it did on the 4-ply version. So yeah, this colorway is always different each time. And then we'll also restock our classic mulberry, which is a dark berry red kind of shade. Berry brown, whatever. And we'll also restock crimson on Masham DK. And even though I've doubled the amount of this colorway, I know it has been requested so many times over the last couple of weeks. So yeah, if you consider to get a few skeins of crimson, yeah, please be on time for the shop update, because this one always flies off the shelves quite quickly. And then we also have our 2 new colorways on the Masham DK. So we'll also have Forest and we will also have Mahogany, which turned out even more brown on the DK than on the 4-ply. So this also shows the beauty of natural dyes and how it sometimes is that it just always surprises me and there's always something new. But this also gives me the chance to show you the difference between mulberry and mahogany. So mulberry is significantly darker and more purple in undertone, whereas mahogany is a lot more warm and brown. So yes, I hope this wasn't too rushed. I'm just trying to keep this video kind of bearable with all the bases and all the different things coming. So yeah, bear with me if I'm showing these a bit quicker than normal, but yeah, I hope it's still manageable to watch and enjoyable to watch. Yeah, so these are the restocks of our classics, and let me tell you a bit more about a kind of new base that we'll have in this update. So for this update we will also have a kind of new base, that I'm saying kind of because it is the same fiber blend as our BFM Masham 4-ply in DK, but this time we've also got a few skeins of it in the Aran weight or worsted, wherever you come from and however you call it. So we have a thicker version of our BFM Masham 4-ply in DK that is at 160 meters per 100 grams, so quite a bit heavier. And this is also different from how it looks, I feel, because it has been spun to a 3-ply. BFM Masham 4-ply and a DK are 2-ply yarns, so there have been 2 singles have been plied together. And for the Aran version, it has been 3 singles that have been plied. That results in a bit more of a round yarn, I feel. I personally really like the accentuated look of the BFM Masham DK and 4-ply because you can really see the 2 singles being twisted or plied. And the BFL Masham Aran is a bit more round in its structure. So without further ado, let me show you so you can see. So this is BFM Masham Aran, and I don't know if you can see, but the structure of the yarn is just a bit different than, let me get the DK version. I don't know if you can see, but here is the DK where you can really see the twist of the 2 plies, and here is the Aran that's a bit more rounded, due to it being a 3-ply. And I have to say, this is the undyed colorway again, by the way, and I have to say I wasn't so keen about it because I personally am not like a knitter with heavier yarns, and I personally prefer like up to a 4mm needle, except for unspun, because for unspun yarn I feel like it's so lightweight that it doesn't really, like, I don't mind the thicker or the bigger needle size. But I was really pleasantly surprised by how this is feeling and how it is, because I feel still, for being an Aran or a worsted, it's not super heavy. I don't know if you can see the single strands a bit better here, but it's not super heavy and it knits up beautifully. Let me show you something where I can show you the structure of the yarn a little bit better, because I was in desperate need of a new hat anyways, and knitting time was really short over the last couple of weeks, and so I'm glad my mom jumped in and knit me a hat in the BFM Masham Aran in the undyed colorway. And I think this turned out really beautiful. It's really squishy, like the fabric is very squishy, and I have a feeling it's gonna be sitting very well. I can even try it on maybe. Ooh, had to try on camera, but yeah, maybe you can see. I can even fold up the brim a bit more if I don't want it to be as high. But I think it's really lovely. It really hugs my head and is very warm and squishy, and I feel like it's not going to lose its shape very quickly, which I feel is a bonus, because I have a very large head. I think I have a 61 centimeter circumference, and normally whenever I try to knit hats, they are either too loose, or I don't know, or my hair is too voluminous under it and it just looks hilarious. So with this one I'm pretty happy. And I got a new hat and my mom knit it for me, and it's like, because why shall she? I mean, I can knit for myself, but... And she often jumps in and helps me knitting samples in new yarns or something, but like it's a cool feeling to get something knitted by someone else. I don't know, like that I can actually use, because I don't know, it never happens because I can knit for myself. So this is extra special. Yeah, this is the hat in BFM Masham Aran, and I just love how this turned out. So the pattern is the Aska hat by Michelle Phelan. I will also enter her information and the pattern information below. And whoops, I think my hair is a bit messy now. Anyhow. But it's a very clever thing because this one is knitted top down actually, and I've never seen anything like that for a hat. And I was very curious if it would turn out well, but somehow the way these increases are shaped are just perfect and make it fit my hat very well. And for this hat, there are 3 different versions, I think. So she has like a fingering plus mohair, a DK plus mohair, and a worsted plus mohair. So we just went for the DK plus mohair to meet the gauge. And what's really practical about the top-down technique is that you can adjust the stitch count if you feel like it's not enough. And we had a feeling it's not enough, but that's probably my giant head. There were a couple of increases more, so I think it was 12 stitches more at the end than the pattern calls for. And so Mum used pretty much 1 skein of the BFM Masham Aran and like 1 centimeter. So I think if you would just go for the regular size and didn't add as many stitches as we did for my giant head, I think 1 skein could even be enough. Like, don't quote me on that. I would not want you to run out of yarn, but even if you did, the hat would just be shorter. That's the good thing about the top-down technique, I feel. Because nothing's more annoying when you're knitting a hat and then you don't have enough yarn for the crown. So this way you can just even make it work, even if you're okay with having a bit of a shorter brim. You could definitely make it work out of 1 skein of our BFM Masham Aran. So I think that's pretty cool. And yeah, the Aska hat. I'm really in love with this one. But let me stop rambling about the hat and show you a couple of colorways. We have a very small quantity of this yarn, mostly because I'm just kind of testing if this is something you're interested in, and I didn't want to purchase a huge amount to just know and then be left with it because you're not interested in this kind of yarn weight. So we have, I don't know, maybe a fourth of this compared to BFM Masham DK. So in case you're interested in it, maybe be on time for the update. And we also only dyed a few classics on this and no new colorways because I thought it's nice to have a few classics. So without further ado, I showed you the undyed colorway already. So that's the same as for BFM Masham DK and 4-ply. And then we also have almond on this base. And I kind of also want a hat in this shade. Do you think it would be too close to my hair color? Maybe. I'm not sure. But we also have blush, which I think would also be lovely as a hat. All I can think of is hats in the BFM Masham Aran now. I mean, you can also make lovely heavy sweaters in this one. Like, not heavy, but really warm and woolly sweaters. And then we'll also have ginger on this base. Then we'll also have pigeon. That also turned out quite dark on this base, which I really love. I think it's very wearable as well. And last but not least, a classic favorite, crimson. Which I think could also be so nice to have a pop of color as accessories or so. I think it could be very beautiful. So yeah, these are just a few colorways on the BFM Masham Aran weight. And I'm really excited to hear what you think of this base, if it's something you like, if you're interested in it, if I shall restock this more often. I personally am really like positively surprised by this, because what I also really like is it's almost, even though the fiber content is the same, it's almost softer than BFL Masham DK and 4-ply, like even softer. Maybe because it's more plied, I don't know, but it just, I really like it. So far of BFL Masham Aran, and now let me give you a little bit of info on what's also going to be available, and how we are going to go about this whole shop update, admin things, shipping. Let me give you all the info. So for the last section, I want to share with you what we'll have available in this update, apart from all these colorways that we've dyed and that I just showed you, because we'll also introduce a new base, and I'm going to link the dedicated intro video to that base here, because I think it would take a bit too long to introduce this to you in depth. But this is our new yarn that is Shetland Welsh Mountain 4-ply, and I'm so excited about this because I have been trying to make a black yarn for quite a while, and if you know me and you've watched a couple of my videos, you might know that I mostly wear black, and that black is one of my favorite colors, and so I'm very excited about this. But yeah, I'll share more about this in the dedicated video. Just so far, it's fully undyed and a warm undertone black, spun to a 350 meters per 100 grams 2-ply yarn. That's worsted spun, although I feel like it feels more semi-worsted, like not as sleek as a traditional worsted spun yarn is. And I'm really in love with this. But yeah, let me share more about this a bit later. Another thing that we'll also have in stock still, but I don't know for how long it will last, is the last plates of our unspun yarn Thrive in the colorway Rye. And these are, I think we have about 100 plates left of the whole batch, so it's just very little that's left. So if you would like to purchase, or if you've been looking into this yarn and were thinking of getting it, now's really the time, because this is the very last bit. And we won't get this back in the exact same way, because yeah, these unspun yarn launches are always limited, because I have to work with what's available to, like what fleeces are available, and so yeah, I won't get this exact shade back. So if you're looking into it, maybe get it in this update. And then we'll also have, I mentioned this in the beginning already, but we'll also have a little bit of a sales section that we are organizing to give you the chance to have a little bit of a bargain before we'll raise our prices. But because I don't want this to be too like just my own profit from this sale, I also want to give a little bit of the proceeds to a charity action that's actually really awesome, and that I want to share a little bit about right now, because I feel it's a very support-worthy charity. I got, I heard about it from my sister's boyfriend's mother. So yeah, there are a couple of ways. But yeah, she is working for this charity. She is a nurse, and she volunteers for like a medical supply bus. They are driving around the city offering medical help, both in form of like medical supplies and consultations with doctors and nurses to people who are homeless. And it's incredible because it's only from volunteering doctors and nurses who are a part of their really hard jobs are additionally volunteering for the bus, and I feel like it's such like there's so much dedication, and I feel like it's such a support worthy project, and I'm really happy that they are here and that we have this kind of support system for homeless people here. So I want to donate some of the proceeds of the sale section to this so-called Arztmobil Hamburg, which is the official name. Just because I feel like it's so awesome that they're doing this, and I wanted to support them somehow. So let's use this opportunity to support this awesome charity. Yeah, I will also link all their info below in case you want to read about the website. It's unfortunately only in German, if I remember correctly. So if you have any trouble and need translation help and want to know more about it, I'll gladly help translate some of the website. But yeah, it's a really awesome project, and I really want to support them. So that's about the sales section. I will not share the colorways in the sales section just because it would take ages, and yeah, so you will have to trust me and my product pictures for the sales section. But yeah, there will be a lot of skeins, single skeins in small quantities, one-of-a-kind colorways, all kinds of bases. So I hope you'll find something that will make you happy in this little sale section. And then I think that is all about what's going to be in the update. So the last bit is just about how it's going to be, and my regular please be on time for the update chat, because yeah, I know I say this often, but yeah, I can only do so much, and over the last couple of months some colorways went quite quickly every time. So yeah, I'd rather have you be on time than missing out on something you've been wanting to have. So yeah, please be on time for the update if you have something special that you're looking for. And yeah, the update will be on the 27th of January at 8 p.m. CET. So yeah, as always on a Friday evening, and then you have time to order over the weekend, and I will start packing the Monday after the shop update. Which also means that in case you order twice or you place multiple orders, please email me with your order numbers, because I cannot automatically find them, like the double orders, and refund you the shipping. That does not work. So I really need your help in this. And in case you order multiple times, please just email me and let me know your order numbers so I can combine them. And it's a bit like, I don't like to say this, but if you're able to, please maybe don't place multiple orders, because each order I have to combine is a lot of admin work. And while I love to do this customer service for you, I have to look after myself a little bit, and the whole thing has grown in a way that each shop update and the packing session after requires quite a lot of energy, and yeah, to get things out in time, it really takes a lot of energy, and I have to be quite quick with the packing. And luckily I have help from my mom and from my sister sometimes, but it's just a lot, and I want to still be reasonable with my turnaround times and ship out things as quickly as I can. But yeah, if it's not necessary, I'm very thankful if you maybe only place one order. But of course, if you decide to get something else, then it's always something I gladly do, and refund the shipping, of course. But yeah, I'm just thankful for everyone who thinks of how much work it is. I know this kind of thing, I don't want to sound like as if I'm not thankful for all the support and for people who place multiple orders. I just kind of have to monitor on how I can handle the growth I have experienced over the last year or so, which I'm very thankful for. But sometimes I just have to. So sometimes I just have to look after myself a little bit and to keep this all going and to make this a sustainable way of working for myself. Which also brings me to asking for your help regarding questions, because I always know I say you can ask any kind of question and I gladly help with all kind of things, but over the last couple of months it has become very, very difficult to manage the amount of questions I'm getting before an update. And so I'm asking you, because sometimes I get a lot of questions that I've previously answered in a video. And yeah, I would really, really like you to maybe check if the info is somewhere before asking, because it saves me a lot of time. And of course I'm answering all kinds of questions, but yeah, it really takes a lot of time, and I'm spending pretty much all day, every day in the week before an update, messaging people and emailing people, and I really enjoy it, and I'm really happy for all the interest in like all the interest in my work and in my yarns. But yeah, again, I'm trying to make this kind of manageable, so please, if you're curious about something, maybe check if I've spoken about it in a video or if I've posted about it before shooting me a message, because it would really, really make it easier for me if I don't have to repeat myself and answer questions multiple times that I've already covered in some of the videos. But yeah, if there's anything additionally that I have forgotten to cover or something, of course, always feel free to shoot me an email. That would be best, because DMs on Instagram can get lost. So if you have a question, please email me. That's hello@woollentwine.com, and I'm also going to add it below. And I think this is the end of my rambly little show and tell of what we'll have available. As mentioned, there will be a separate video on our new black yarn coming. I will also link that one below. And yeah, I think there's nothing more to say than see you on the 27th, and thank you so much for watching and sticking around until now if you do. And yeah, thank you so much for everything, and have a lovely day. Bye.